say another amen.
Thank you so much. May please take your seats. May I, with joy and gladness in my heart, welcome us to the 147th Inaugural Lecture. As we all know, Inaugural Lecture is a forum where professors tell us the outcome of their research, and also pay the debt owed to the university. Please, before we go further, may I recognize members of the high table here present. First, we recognize is the Vice Chancellor and Chairman, Professor Florence Obi. Please put your hands together for her. And may I on the same way recognize here present the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Tony Ian. Please put your hands together for me. And also to be recognized is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research, Linkages and Collaborations, Professor Peter Chukwuemeka Okafor. Please put your hands together for me. Seated up here is the Registrar of this institution, Dr. Mrs. Chukwuka Icha. Can we please celebrate her? And may I also recognize the University Librarian, Professor Anyediet Ntui. And may I particularly recognize the members of the University Governing Council here present. And may I recognize, please put your hands together for them, they are here. May I recognize former Vice Chancellors here present, and the Vice Chancellor, University of Education and Entrepreneur, Yakamba, Professor Patrick Asuko. This Professor Ikaitena is also here, and we please celebrate her. Provost, College of Medical Sciences, Professor Ngumgum is here. Provost School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Yo Banga Yo. Please put your hands together for them. May I also recognize here present the Provost College of Education, University of Calabar, Professor German Anabugu. Please put your hands together for me. The person to unravel the shadow behind the inaugural lecturer is a citation reader, and he is no other person than Professor Peter Bassi. Please put your hands together for me. From the Department of Psychology of Education, Faculty of Educational Foundation Studies. You're welcome, sir. And may I introduce you the 147th Inaugural Lecturer, who will be properly unveiled shortly. She is a Professor of Guidance and Counselling, University of Calabar, Professor Anthonia Emmanuel Inaja. Please put your hands together for her. Ma'am, you're welcome, ma'am. You're recognized. May I also recognize immediate past registrar of this institution, Mr. Gabriel Igbe. You're welcome, sir. Dean Faculty of Educational Foundation, Professor Emmanuel Ikuri. Please put your hands together for me. You're welcome, sir. Deans of other faculties, directors of departments, and units here present, you're all recognized. And a highly esteemed professors and members of Senate. Please, you're all recognized. The Chairman Ceremonial Committee, Emeritus Professor Chris Nwamo. He's here. I think I saw him. Emeritus Professor Ime Usim. You're welcome, sir. You're recognized. May I recognize all past inaugural lecturers, invited guests, members of the university community, Malabites and Malabreses. Please, you're all recognized. Can we put our hands together for ourselves? And the clergy that just took the opening prayer is Pastor Paulson, the immediate family of the inaugural lecturer. Her daughter, Mrs. Bright Igbi Arikbu. Please put your hands together. And the son, Master Joseph Obasi Ota Inaja. Please put your hands together for them. The grandchildren are here. And just Sam Igbi Abam. Teo, Jasam, Ikbi, Abam. Please put your hands together, they are here. Can you wave to the crowd? Just stand and wave to the crowd. Please put your hands together for him. Her brothers, Barrister John Osowochi Odu, Mr. Ferdinand Bison Odu, Mr. Godwin Busa Sowo Odu, and Mrs. Agnes Busa Osowo Odu. Please put your hands together for them. Her in-law, Mr. Peter Ansai Inaja. Please, you're all recognized. I don't know if the Commissioner for Education Cross River State is here. Distinguished Senator Professor Stephen Udi. Please, if you're here, you're recognized. Right Honorable Paddy Ubuge. Professor Aretu Boat, her academic mentor. I don't know if she's here. Please put your hands together for her. Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Honorable Abigail Duke. Please, if you're here, please put your hands together. You'll recognize the virtuous women. If they are here, just stand and wave to the crowd. Put your hands together, they are over there. Boki women. Ejabonge. Please put your hands together if they are here. Bansan women, they are here. Put your hands together. Mother of Peace, St. Bernard Parish. And Ejadi Girls Association. Can we put our hands together for them? At this point, I hand over the microphone to the registrar to please continue with further proceedings of this 147th inaugural lecture as we put our hands together for her.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me to invite the chairman of this occasion, our very own Vice Chancellor, Golden Vice Chancellor, Professor Florence Banku, to give her opening remarks.
Thank you, my registrar. Principal officers, provosts, professors, deans, heads of departments, our inaugural lecturer, distinguished guests. I want to welcome you on behalf of the University of Calabar to the 147th Inaugural Lecture, which is going to be presented by one of the distinguished academic, my own sister, Professor Anthonia Emmanuel Inaja. She's going to take us through the topic, the second act. Second act. Meaning that there was, or there is, the first act. And she will tell us what the second act and the first act all are. And she asked a question: are there transformative opportunities for a rewarding life at retirement? We know we all are going to retire one day or the other at the end of our journey here as academics. We retire at the age of 65, we retire at the age of 70, and we don't know which is the second act. Many of us are very unprepared for retirement. Hence, some of us begin to change our years of birth over and over and over again for fear of the unknown. We do hope the distinguished lecturer is going to actually tell us if there are transformative opportunities for a rewarding life after retirement. Thereafter, perhaps, we'll make sure we no longer go to establishment to falsify our ages, because we'll be sure that there is a transformative life after retirement. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I will hand over the mic while we just relax and cruise along with the inaugural lecturer after her introduction. Thank you.
At this point, may I invite the citation reader, Professor Peter Unobasi, to read the citation of the 147th Inaugural Lecturer, Professor Anthonia Emmanuel Inaja.
Through the chair, the chairman of this occasion, Professor Florence Banku, for want of time, may I stand on the existing protocol and go straight to introducing the 147th Inaugural Lecture. It was in 1998 when I was employed here as a graduate assistant, and I was privileged to attend one board meeting in a closed conference room somewhere in the old campus. And she sat close by and just looked at me and said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Cross River." He said, "Your accent sounds like that of a Ghanaian." I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm a man of many parts. I used to dress like Yoruba." He said, "You look like Yoruba." I said, "Yes, ma'am. That's why I'm a man of many parts." And we started being friendly. Along the line, we co-authored a textbook which was used by the defunct Faculty of Education, History of Education. The citation count is counting. And then we grew on until when she came up with this issue of Jolly Phonics. Around that time, I was busy with my PhD thesis, so I didn't have time to follow up. But later on, I was able to catch up. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, the battle between dawn and twilight brought forth a maiden by name Anthonia, born to Mr. and Mrs. Ferdinand Bisson of Odu Basam or Sokum, extraction from the Boki local government area of Cross River State. The father, a consummate disciplinarian and an educationist, a one-time headmaster of the primary school Ogiga Godswill. Not only was he a teacher, he was a politician par excellence of the defunct NCNC. I ask, what is NCNC? I will keep this secret. Only those who were born in the 50s and 60s will understand. But for benefit of that, I'll let you know. It is called National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon. He was a former mentor of great leaders, among them Gabi's son, General Bernard Abang, and late Chief Michael Ogon, as well as late Professor Bernard Odu, former Dean of Agriculture, Unical. The mother, Mrs. Veronica Odu, was renowned for her hospitality and culinary skills, which endeared the young Anthonia to values of hard work, service, resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, no wonder when she began her academic journey, it was filled with thrills and dedication, brilliance, excellence, and doggedness. Young Anthonia attended the Holy Child Government Primary School, Ogiga, in Ogoja, and Ejali Memorial Secondary School in Calabar, and St. Thomas Teachers Training College in Ogoja, University of Calabar, Cross River State, the University of Benin, and the University of Calabar, where she backed her PhD in counseling, guidance, and counseling. The 147th Inaugural Lecturer started as a graduate assistant and steadily rose to the height of a full professor. Along this journey, she touched countless lives, mentoring future leaders. I am number one. Any other person I called will be number two or number three. Can you just put your hand there and count? One of them is Professor Zana Akpabio, the former Vice Chancellor of Unical. Remember, I'm number one. Professor Eyo of Mensa, the Present Director of Basianda Institute of Asian and African Studies. And finally, my humble self. In leadership, Prof. Inaja has consistently broken barriers and set new standards by her numerous appointments. First, as head of department in 2011, the youngest at that time to hold such a position. Hey, overseeing well over 11 professors with vision and determination. She established the first counseling psychology lab in the university. Achievement that occurred full accreditation for that department. In 2021, Destiny called again when she was appointed the Pioneer Dean of the Faculty of Educational Foundation Studies by the tribalizing Vice Chancellor, Professor Florence Banku. As Dean, she not only built structure and laboratories, but also midwife new programs. She distinguished and championed accreditation successes and nurtured an enduring faculty identity. Her research output sparks with both depth and breadth. Over 70 journal articles. I expected to hear the clapping now. Several books and monographs and landmark collaborations, including her pioneering work with Jolly Phonics in Nigeria. She has supervised 27 masters and 19 doctoral dissertations to completion, each one a legacy of scholarship that continues to ripple through academia and society. Professor Inaja is not just a scholar, but also a servant leader. She has served the University of Calabar as Deputy Director of the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence, Director of the Institute of Education, member of Senate Business Committee, two-term Dean of the Faculty of Educational Foundation Studies, and Governing Council member. Beyond the university, she currently serves with distinction as the Executive Secretary of the Cross River State Scholarship Board, where she continues to champion success and access to education for future generations. Her professional affiliations are global and prestigious. She's a member of several associations, beginning with the Counselling Association of Nigeria, MCASSON, American Counseling Association, ACA, American Psychological Association, APA, World Council for Curriculum and Instruction, WCCI, National Association of Women Academics, NAWACS, and fellow Educational Management and Policy Practitioners, FEMAP, and many others. Her excellence has not gone unnoticed. She is the proud recipient of numerous awards, including United Nations Global Champion for Gender Equality Award of 2024, honors from student associations across the country, and distinguished recognitions from professional counseling and educational bodies. Yet, beyond her glittering curriculum vitae lies her most enduring legacy, her humanity. Professor Inaja has devoted herself to uplifting students, mentoring colleagues, empowering women, and creating opportunities for others to shine. She has embodied the motto that true leadership is not about titles, but about impact. Let's put on for that. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to say today, as we celebrate her as an inaugural lecturer, the 147th Inaugural Lecture, we do so not only to honor her past achievement, but to draw inspiration from her journey of resilience, brilliance, and service. She is a trailblazer, a mentor of mentees, a global citizen, and a pride Nigerian academia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Professor Anthonia Emmanuel Inaja, a scholar, dogged academic, a teacher, a leader, and beacon of inspiration. You're welcome.
The Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this occasion, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research Linkages and Collaboration, Chairman and members of the University of Calabar Governing Council, former Vice Chancellors here present, other principal officers, the Registrar, Librarian, and Bossa, the Chairman Committee of Deans, Provost College of Graduate Studies and Provost College of Education, the Provost College of Medical Science, Deans of Faculty, Deans of Student Affairs, Directors of Institutions and Directorates, distinguished professors and members of the University Senate, past inaugural lecturers, great MCASSONites, my Lord spiritual and temporal, great Nigerian students, my family members here present, Barrister John Osowo Chiodu, Mr. Ferdinand Bisongodu, Mr. Godwin Usosowodu, and my lovely children here seated, Master Joseph Inaja, my son-in-law Chris Aribo, and my daughter Bright Aribo, my darling grandchildren, Grandmama baby. I welcome you all. I can see above the Jolly Phonics members. Can you rise up for recognition, please? I welcome you. My elderly schoolmates, are you here? I welcome you to this occasion. Great virtuous women of Jubilee International Churches, welcome all of you. Madam Vice Chancellor Ma, permit me to dedicate this lecture to God Almighty, the unfailing source of wisdom, grace, and strength, the beginning and the end of all my endeavors. I dedicate this inaugural lecture to him alone. His steadfast love has been my anchor through every season of life. To the ever-blessed memory of my beloved husband, whose steadfast faith, love, and sacrifice stood as a silent pillars behind my academic ascent. Though no longer here, his spirit continued to cheer me on from the realm beyond. To my dear parents, late Mr. and Mrs. Ferdinand Bisongodu, whose nurturing and abiding counsel laid the foundation upon which my educational journey was built. Your legacies live on in every milestone I achieve. To my late younger brother, Mr. Leo Bisongodu, whose bright light was extinguished too soon, yet continues remain deeply grateful for your thoughtfulness and leadership. It is indeed humbling honor to partake in this prestigious academic tradition, which celebrates the intellectual journey, achievements, and contributions of scholars. The inaugural lecture serves as a distinguished platform through which professors share their share their research insights and experiences, bringing the wall of the gown and that of the town. It is a day when knowledge meets reflection and when professor speaks, not to be questioned, but to be heard, appreciated, and remembered. Inaugural lecture inspired discourse, stimulate critical thought, and deepen our collective understanding of scholarship and society. Today, I'm privileged to present my lecture titled, The Second Act. Are there transformative opportunities for a rewarding life at retirement? That's a question we are going to provide the answer as this lecture continues. The initial phase of life described as the first act is typical, characterized by career establishment, which involve building a profession, working towards financial stability, and establishing a sense of identity. In fact, that is what we are doing now. We are in the first act. We are building our career, and we are establishing a sense of identity. So the first act is when you are still in service, still working at the job, gathering experience, identifying with friends, and building your career. It's a focus on achievement and success, a strong emphasis on work and productivity, a desire to establish a sense of identity and belonging. On the other hand, the second act, which is the focus of this lecture, refers to the post-retirement phase of life, characterized by redefining purpose, personal fulfillment, legacy and contribution, reflection and introspection. This phase is often marked by a sense of freedom and flexibility, a focus on personal growth and self-expression, a desire to give back and make a positive impact, and a shift from external validation to internal fulfillment. This lecture explores the vital themes of redefining life after retirement, embracing emerging opportunities, and cultivating meaning and purpose beyond the wall of former work. I invite you, dear colleagues, friends, and guests, to journey with me as we reflect on the possibilities of a rewarding life in the second act. Introduction. Permit me to begin with an image. Imagine life as a grand theater. The curtain rises, the spotlight shines, and the actors, each of us, step onto the stage. The first act is long. It has to do with the period you went to school. That period you were seeking for what to do, what to read, what profession you want to pursue. All these are in the first act. The first act is long, demanding, and filled with the drama of career deadlines and professional. Of course, it's not the end. Yet, you must have a purpose. Studies have shown that those who retire without a purpose age faster and sometimes goes into depression. As you approach retirement, those of you who are still preparing for retirement or who are get to retirement very soon, my advice to you is that don't let that define you. As you approach retirement, don't let it define you, because age is just a number. This lecture titled The Second Act, because retirement if you don't have a purpose, you are done for. So, it is a line of creativity, continuity, and transformation. Retirement is a period of formal termination of one's working life. Of social identity, financial security, and daily structure. The trauma associated with retirement arises largely from the withdrawal of benefits. Major changes in life due to retirement. What are the major changes in life due to retirement? That's the aspect we want to look at now. Now, we normally say, what do we say is permanent in life? Change is said it is permanent in life. Retirement is a change. Just like we know everything that has a beginning must have an end. The period you are now working and enjoying the salary you are receiving and other things packaged in the work are all going to come to an end. So the period of retirement represents a significant Those changes include, I'm going to list them, then after we are going to discuss them one by one. The first change there is termination of regular salaries and remuneration. We all know salary is what we look up to every month. And we expect that every month we should be paid our salary. We look at it glaringly and expectantly, preparing our budgets for each month. At times when it doesn't come early, we protest. We make noise. We complain. That period will come to an end. And what is your alternative as you go ahead in life during the period of your retirement? Have you made plans for the alternative of this salary when it is terminated? What will you fall on at the end of the termination of your salary that you are receiving now? And we have rightly said that the only thing that is constant in life is change. But do we readily welcome changes in our lives? living certificate. Some of the first school living certificates were not even found. We had so many stories of my first school living certificate was born during fire disaster. Some say flood happened in 2020 or 1930, 90 whatever, and that the flood that came cleared everything in my house, including my first school living certificate. So there are issues of ways we resist retirement. Again, during our usual regularization, we also see various ways people resist retirement. They try all kinds of things to stay back at work. Those things are not necessary. There's no need for us to do all of that. After termination of regular salaries, the next thing is termination of active work life. Termination of active work life. As a staff, you are very active. Every day you go to work, you interface with your colleagues, you share experiences, you grow in the profession, and you are happy, you are not bored, you are not lonely because you are always having people to interact with. But this arrangement will end one day, that you will no longer have those people to interact with. Have you thought of it? Have you prepared forward for that? What is your preparation? What will you do by the time you are told that your retirement is now and you go back? Will you just go back and sit at home and waste away? No. We are going to look at that. The loss of daily social interaction with colleagues and professional associates. You interact with your colleagues, you collaborate to write papers, you do all things, you gain experience with them. That also will end one day. You will not have them. But in retirement, we will tell you what will happen so that you will not lose focus. Then, the next is change of residential area. If you are living in a rented house, one day you are going to ask to park out. By the time your work has been terminated, you are no longer working, you will not be able to pay for that house rent again. And if you are also living in a staff quarters, you'll be asked to leave. Immediately, you come to the age of retirement, they will be preparing you to move you out of that staff quarters. Have you thought of that? What preparation are you making? By the time you are no longer going to live in the staff quarters, or you are no longer going to be able to pay the rent where you are living because that salary is not forthcoming again, what are your preparations for that? Then we have shifts in social image, responsibility and self-perception, and change in social status and mental adjustment. Life. Retirement often causes emotional and psychological challenges as individuals lost their sense of purpose and structure provided by work. However, it can also offer opportunities for personal growth. Retirement can offer opportunities for personal growth. You can do something when you retire. Those things you were not able to do while at work. Perhaps you were doing them, but in small scale. At retirement, you are going to do them in full scale. So you prepare towards that. If you were doing poultry, perhaps you do it small. But when you go to retirement, because you have started it already, it will not be difficult for you to continue with your poultry. Yours may be trading. Maybe you go and buy and sell. As a worker, you may not have time to go and buy and sell. At retirement, you fall into that. But one thing that is important, don't sit down and be inactive. You have to be active in order to live long. Inactivity kills. Retirement, termination of active work life. Retirement often causes emotional, psychological challenges as individuals lose the sense of purpose and structure provided by work. However, it can also offer opportunities for personal growth, creativity, and continued contribution to society, as seen in the post-presidency life of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was we know him as one of the most active and admired ex-presidents of American history. He was a professor of university. He taught Sunday school children. He built and renovated houses for low-income families. This was after his presidency. He didn't say, I am okay, but he still continued to do something. At an old age, he kept active. He kept doing things. He established a center called Carter Center, which sponsors international programs in human rights education. He also promoted healthcare, agriculture, and technical and other things. He secured the release of hundreds of political prisoners. Carter was a roving peacemaker and a guardian of freedom. He was nominated several times for Nobel Peace Prize. Now, coming back home, the person that fits well in that shoe is our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. He is still active in politics. He has been involved in various international diplomatic efforts and humanitarian initiatives after his presidency, leaving his experience to foster global cooperation and development. Another person we can look at also, who never gave up, even at old age, is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. He is a very active woman, even at his age, because she is active, you can see she's very strong. She moves around the world. And as we know, she is a renowned economist and a former finance minister, currently as the Director General of World Trade Organization. His dedication to public service is well known. We also have another of our brother, a reputable person, a literary giant, and a Nobel laureate. Soyinka continues to be an influential voice in Africa literature and politics. He did not say, I am old, I cannot do anything any longer. He continued being active by interfacing with the world. So, the next one we want to look at is loss of daily social interaction with colleagues and professional associates. The end of active service leads to the loss of professional network, which can result in isolation. When you are no longer coming to work, you will be isolated if you don't form another group of relationship. So you participate in community work, in your village, in the church, anywhere you are. Please don't sit at home and say, I have been shoved aside. I have no other thing to offer. You have a lot to offer. The man created by God is multi-talented. You have so many things you can offer. And in guidance and counseling, when you come to us, we will come out with all those talents that are embedded in you. So please, don't dismiss yourself as not having anything again to offer. Loss of daily social interaction, as we have said, with colleagues and professional associates. The end of active service leads to loss of professional network, which can result in isolation and emotional decline. Though retirees can find new social connections through community involvement and volunteering, retirees may also prioritize meaningful relationships, which contribute to their well-being and social satisfaction. The next one, as I say, we are going to look at it, is change of residential area. Relocating after retirement is often stressful, especially for those who have lived in one place for decades. It becomes difficult for you to move. It's not easy to move. It's not easy to change from one place to the other. I remember when I was offered a staff quarters. I was allocated a staff quarters. After renovating it, it took me more than 1 year to move to the quarters. that is to show that it's not easy to move wherever you are. It takes a lot before you move. Even when we were offered another place where we are now at the college, when they were asked, the guidance and counseling department should move. It took time. We refused to move. We were there for a very long time until the former Vice Chancellor, Zana, came to our offices and said, Andele. That was the only time we left the place. So the same thing, it is not easy to change your accommodations so easily. Relocation after retirement is often stressful, especially for those who have lived in one place for decades. However, maintaining independence in one's home is a common preference. Choosing suitable housing that supports autonomy and proximity to social network is critical for retirees' emotional and physical well-being. So when you are planning to move, please let your house be located where those things you are always going for are close to you. There should be proximity between your house, the hospital, the market, the shops, every place. Don't go and build your house in a very far, isolated place, because that alone you are inviting loneliness and boredom. Stay where you can easily be contacted. And living alone also, you know, Nigeria is very dangerous now. If you go and live in an isolated place, a small boy may come and attack you in that isolated place. By this time, perhaps your children are all grown up and they have gone. And again, when you are also building your house, don't build bogus houses. Because those children you are thinking they will come and live with you, they will not be there. They are all have their own life to live. They will leave your house for you. If they are visiting you at all, it is once in a very blue moon. So if you want to build house, build where you have people to interact with, where there are community, where you can socialize with people. Living arrangements, security and loneliness. The living arrangement of retirees greatly affect their security and social connectedness. With those living alone, more vulnerable to isolation, planning for independence through accessible housing and building social network can mitigate loneliness and enhance well-being. Now, adjustment to health practices. Health is crucial. Very, very crucial. And for a fulfilling retirement with regular exercise and balanced diet, promoting longevity and mental health. Even at old age, there are small exercises you can do. Don't say I'm too old. My weights are stiff. I cannot bend down again. Who says so? You can bend down. You can make yourself flexible. You go out to do exercise. There are small aerobics that you can partake in. I thank God for the director of sports. Every Saturday, then she used to invite us to come out for exercise. And I know a lot of us used to go there and enjoy ourselves because they also forms interacting with one another. So engaging in hobbies and leisure activities also helps retirees maintain purpose and cognitive function, reducing depression and promoting overall wellness. As part of health activity also, please engage in reasonable conversation with people. Wherever you find yourself, engage with people. This will stimulate cognitive arrangement and also feeling of isolation. Engage in mental stimulating activities like puzzles and games. There are games you can download and play. It helps you build a brain. You do those things, download them, buy them, and be active. Again, I have mentioned leisure. Take a period of leisure, very, very important. It is very good for your health. If you like dancing, please dance, particularly when you go to church. Partake in the dancing in church very well. Dance to the glory of God. Don't feel that you are too big. There is no big manism in God. Feel free. If you like to demonstrate and dance. It is good for your health. Look at our sister Florence Itagiwa. Every Christmas festival. She participated in the carnival. At her age, she's over 70. See how she's looking fresh and young. Because she's active, she's engaging, she's always participating in social activities that keeps her strong and healthy. So what are you doing? Some of you abuse the Christmas carnival and say it's for demons, it's for devil, it's for Satan. It is not true. It is a form of exercise for you. So engage. The next one is coming very soon. I thank you, our Vice Chancellor. The last one, we participated as Unical team. So I'm sure this year we are going to participate. Come out and participate and exercise yourself. Another is shifts in social image, responsibilities, and self-perception. Retirement often leads to decrease in social status and financial responsibilities, which can result in emotional stress and identity loss. Without proper preparation, retirees may struggle with feeling of isolation and lack of purpose due to the abrupt changes in their daily life. Change in social status and mental adjustment. Retirement can lead to a loss of identity and self-esteem. Yes, it can lead to self-esteem. Remember, during period of work, you are highly regarded. People rally around you. Some come to you to ask for help. Some even bring gari, bring tubers of yam, bring everything. Gives you very high esteem. Make you to feel big and important. All those will end one day. You will not see anybody that will come and say, Ma, thank you. I came to appreciate you. It will not be there again at retirement. But you can do something to fill in that gap. By being active, by doing so many roles to keep you busy and also generate income. Now we have critical issues that affect retirement in Nigeria. Nigeria presents unique retirement challenges. Nigeria presents unique retirement challenges, which include, one, people, when they go to queue up to collect their benefits, some of them, because of their age and weakness, collapse on the queue and die. This is not good. For instance, elderly pensioners were seen sitting in plastic chairs on Major Road in Calabar. You can see them there. This was in 2020. They were asking for what is theirs. This was a national embarrassment. Was sitting there, how will you feel? So that was a bad situation there. So for instance, early patients were seen sitting on plastic chairs on major roads in Calabar, Cross River State in 2020, causing total blockage and singing pension as they demanded payment of their pension. These are common reports across the various states, not only in Cross River State alone. If you look at the next one, these ones are in Lagos State. And look at the motto of their banner. Rest is sweet. Do not occur again. Look at retiring blocking Imo government house entrance, demanding payment of pensions in 20. 2020, another group of retirees protesting non-payment of entitlement in Lagos State. Retirees blocking Imo State House entrance, demanding payment of pension in 2020. All this is not what they bargained for. Other issues affecting retirement in Nigeria. Limited post-retirement engagement. That's what I want to come for. Retirement decision flow chart. Looking at the flow chart there, we have retirement at the top, retirement decision flow chart. We have, are you retire? This is the starting point of the flow chart, promoting a self-assessment. If the answer is no, the process moves towards preparing for retirement. And if yes, it continues with evaluating retirement goals and other factors. If no, assess financial situation. If someone is not ready to retire, this step advises evaluating one's financial situation. The goal here is to ensure that you have enough savings or income for a comfortable retirement. Plan retirement timeline. Conditions. Consider healthcare needs. Healthcare is a critical aspect of retirement planning. This section highlights the importance of understanding future healthcare costs, including insurance and long-term care needs. Then decide retirement age. Deciding the ideal age to retire is an essential part of the process. It affects financial planning, pension schemes, and personal goals. Develop a retirement budget. The final step involves creating retirement budget. This includes estimating income and expenses during retirement to ensure sustainability and comfortable lifestyle. For generations, setting the stage, retirement as a second act. So we go now proper retirement at the second act. For generations, retirement was framed as closure, an exit into silence, a retreat So rather than withdrawing it can be a period of re-engagement. Retirement should be a period of re-engagement. Re-engage yourself to do something. If you were a teacher when you retire, you can be a consultant. All these private schools will consult you and get information from you. If you are in any other aspect, you do what you were doing in another way. So this rethinking is not only academically sound, it is socially necessary, for as the saying goes, old age is not a defeat, it is victory, if only we choose to see it so. There is no vacuum in life. Life without work may be boring and dull. This statement highlights the importance be inactive. Inactivity is a way of getting decayed. Now, transformative opportunities in the second act. What then awaits us in this second act? Intellectually, retirees can continue writing. I remember my academic father, Professor Idenga, is a good writer. Even after retirement, we saw so many books he was still writing. So if you have that gift of writing, please write and get yourself busy. Conduct research and embrace lifelong learning. We heard what Jimmy Carter did. Even our Obasanjo, at a point in time, we heard that he went to university at age that he was supposed to retire. He still engaged himself in going to read again to develop himself. So the mind, after all, does not retire. Our minds does not retire if you keep it engaged. So great books and groundbreaking ideas have often been born in the so-called twilight years. So you can re-engage yourself like Chief Dr. Inyang Hogan at 91, a mathematician facilitating at the just concluded Science Teacher Association of Nigeria stand conference held at Abeokuta. At that age, 91, see her standing and facilitating. As a professional teacher, you should go around, not sit down at all times. The transformative opportunities, yes. Socially, the second act offers a chance to mentor the young, to volunteer, and to build stronger communities. Retirees are like libraries. When they remain open, generation benefits. So remain open. We are like libraries. They are the compass that the younger ones are looking at. Economically, retirement is not the end of productivity. Rather, it opens space for consultancy. It opens space. Narratives of transformation. Narrative of transformation. History gives us countless examples of those more than 80, but he's still very active. He's still strong. To engage in politics is not a joke. And to think for the nation and try to do things for the nation is not a joke. He's still strong and active. He did not say, I have money enough. Let me sit down and enjoy my money. Like the rich fool in the Bible says, I will not pursue anything again. And he died because he refused to pursue things. Again, the Bible says, if you don't have a vision, you perish. So if you lack vision, you will perish. Have vision of what you want to do. Think of what you have to develop. Think of what you have to engage in. So Tinubu, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and other elder statesmen like Senator Jibril Aminu, Senator David Mark, all of whom have remained active voices in the national discourse long after their former retirements. Even among us here in the University of Calabar, we have our ugly people still moving around us. They have refused to give up. They are still active. Think of our dear Professor Eka Braid. She attends almost all the Senate meetings if she's around. If she was here today, she would have been sitting down here listening to this lecture. Ma, wherever you are, I know you are watching me because I've sent you the link. And I thank you, Ma, that you told me what to do, that I should make my lecture simple. I shouldn't make it technical. I should speak to the people and not make it technical for them not to understand. Thank you, Ma, for that advice. I hope I am satisfying what you said. Even amongst us here, we also have Professor Sim Emeritus. I saw him here and took a photograph with him. He's still strong, very strong, moving about, still contributing to the development of the University of Calabar. So these people are people we should model after. We have Professor Ipoke, always around. After retirement, he's still contributing, giving advice, showing interest in how the university should be run. So those are the things that shows that age does not have a barrier. All you need to do is to keep engaging. We have my teacher, Enopong, the famous 001. She's still around, still strong, because she has not given up. She's still very active. She moves about, attending functions. We have Professor Su and other retirees that we celebrated. Remember, on the 2nd of October 2025, we had celebration. We celebrated our retirees. We called them from wherever they are. We celebrated them and gave them an award. And they were very happy. Those are the kind of things we should do and recognize our senior citizens, not to forget them. On the global stage, the case of John Glenn stands as a luminous example. Having been the first American to orbit the Earth in 1962, Glenn returned to space in 1998. At the age of 77, the oldest human ever to do so, his flight was not merely scientific, it was symbolic. It defies stereotype. She painted for a very long time. Those in art will know her. She started acting, started that painting at the age of 78. Another remarkable example is Ella Mae Stumpe of Maryland, who at 98 taught herself to use Microsoft Word. Can you imagine that? At 98. She taught herself. Employment. There are many of those people to mention, but because of want of time, we are not going to go into detail to mention all those people. Yet we must Nigeria and global realities. Yet we must be honest about context in Nigeria. Retirement is often clouded by harsh realities, delayed pensions, inadequate health systems, and cultural assumptions that sideline the elderly. Many retirees find themselves caught between policy promises and life struggles. Retirees and the aged should be celebrated in Nigeria. If we started here, International Day of the Aged or International Day of Senior Citizens. Can't we do that? All other groups, they are recognized. They give them an International Day of celebrating. The aged also should be given. Ma'am, please, I will want to propose that our National Assembly and all the assemblies in the state should be special, they should have special committee for senior citizen affairs. Special committee for senior citizens affairs. So that things that has to do with the aged should also be looked into and taken care of. And yet, globally, there are inspiring models, nations where retirees are integrated into community life, where policy framework protects dignity, and where older citizens are seen as assets, not burdens. Can we not then borrow wisdom from these models and adapt them to our own realities? Challenges to a rewarding second act. Yes, the second act has its obstacles. Financial insecurity can shrink dreams. Declined health can steal vitality. Society often underestimates older citizens, dismissing them as spent forces. Most of you too will be old one day. So please, let us recognize. Even at time when you are driving, you see maybe a young man driving, he drives past you, and when he turned down and see that you are elderly, say, look at this old man. Carry that motor and get out from the road. So that those comments are not good for our aged. So and perhaps most painfully, many retirees wrestle with identity loss, asking, who am I now that my title is gone? These challenges are real, but they are not insurmountable. So the path forward is clear. First, we must prepare early. Retirement is not an event, it is a process. But if you don't have anything, you are always sad. You are not progressing, and it affects your health. Second, institutions must play their part. Second, institutions must play their part. Universities, governments, and organizations should create supportive policies to be what you might have been. My contribution to knowledge and society. Madam Vice Chancellor, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, beloved students, ladies and gentlemen, permit me at this point to humbly reflect on my modest contributions to the body of knowledge in my area of specialization and how these contributions have extended beyond the academic to impact society. For the past 31 years, my professional life has been defined by thread of teaching, research, community service. I shall highlight in summary how this engagement have shaped both scholarship and practice. I will not bore you with the details. Any of you here in the house? Stand up and greet the crowd. the Visima, those are part of my contribution to knowledge. University engagement and administration. My service to the University of Calabar has been both extensive and impactful. I have held several key administrative and leadership positions, including Head of Department Guidance and Counseling, Pioneer Dean, Faculty of Educational Foundation Studies, 2 terms, Deputy Director, Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence, Director, Institute of Education, Member, Governing Council, University of Calabar, and others, which I will not have time to say. Like I said, others you can read from the book. Community service and societal impact. Jolly funnest experience. Beyond classroom teaching and research engagement, my academic journey has been profound, enriched, and sustained, involving community service, counseling, interventions, teaching, training, workshops, and developmental programs across school, civil service establishments, correctional centers, and vulnerable communities. These experiences have continually reinforced my conviction that research should not remain confined to library shelves, but must translate into tangible improvements in people's lives. In addition, I led and coordinated several research initiatives, notably as a leader of Stepping Stone research team on Jolly Funnest method and research leader for Jolly Funnest Read and Write Now Literacy Project, a decade-long effort to strengthen reading outcomes across Nigeria. Currently, I'm the Executive Secretary of Cross River State Scholarship Board. Recommendation. To improve post-retirement life in Nigeria, policy reforms should focus on strengthening pension administration, creating flexible post-retirement work options, and establishing community-based support programs to enhance retirees' well-being. Retirees can exploit opportunities in consultancy, entrepreneurship, agriculture, and the gig economy, thereby transforming retirement into a period of reinvention rather than decline. However, retirement is often met with mixed emotions in Nigeria, while some view it as a time for rest, others experience uncertainty due to financial instability. Especially, state and federal government should strengthen pension reforms to ensure prompt payments and sustainability. State and federal government should promote financial literacy to ensure retirees plan adequately for post-work life. Non-governmental bodies and good-spirited individuals in collaboration with the government should set up recreational centers, inclusively for retirees and old people in both rural and urban areas to enable elderly people and retirees to network, rub minds, and provide counsel, succor, and support for one another. The Nigerian State and National Assembly should have special committee to address the problems associated with retirees and the negligence need of retired civil servants. Universities should introduce courses on leadership, mentorship, coaching, and social impact projects to prepare retirees for second career or voluntary roles. Ultimately, addressing retirement challenges require both policy reforms and redefinition of retirement itself. It should not be seen as a final stop, but as a new beginning, a stage for reinvention, engagement, and fulfillment. By embracing dynamic, flexible, and meaningful post-career pathways, individuals can sustain financial independence while contributing positively to society. Conclusion. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the curtain may fall on the first act, but the play of life is not yet over. The second act awaits an act of creativity, contribution, and fulfillment. Let us therefore embrace retirement not as the end of the story, but as a fresh beginning. A rewarding retirement is possible when we seize its transformative opportunities. The stage is set, the lights are on, and the scripts in our hands. The question is not, what will retirement do to us, but rather, what will we do with retirement? Indeed, there are transformative opportunities for a very rewarding life at retirement. Thank you. Acknowledgement. I am deeply grateful to Almighty God, my maker and sustainer, for his abundant grace, wisdom, and unfailing favor that have guided my journey through life. His mercy has been my constant companion, his strength my support, and his faithfulness my anchor through every season. The milestone I celebrate today are but a reflection of his goodness. To him alone be all glory, honor, and praise, now and forevermore. I fondly remember and celebrate my beloved parents of blessed memory, whose nurturing, discipline, and prayers formed the foundation of my life. My late father, Mr. Ferdinand Bisongodu, was a man of exceptional integrity, whose principles of hard work, honesty, and resilience shaped my worldwide and guided my life's pursuit. Was man of exceptional integrity, whose principles of hard work, honesty, and resilience shaped my worldview and guided my life pursuit. My dear mother, though no longer with us, remains a silent voice of comfort and wisdom. Her selflessness, patience, and unwavering faith in God continue to echo in my heart. May their gentle soul rest in perfect peace. To my beloved children, Mrs. Bright Ariko, Mr. Godwin Busoso Wodu, and Master Joseph Emmanuel Inaja, you are my pride and joy. Your understanding, encouragement, and prayers have strengthened me through challenges of leadership and academic life. I am profoundly proud of the responsible and God-fearing adults you have become. To my dear grandchildren, you are the crown of my old age and a living extension of God's promise to me. I love you dearly. I am equally grateful to my son-in-law, Mr. Chris Aripo, and my daughter-in-law, Mrs. Agnes Busoso Wodu, for your unwavering support, love, and encouragement. May God bless you and reward you your kindness richly. With a heart full of gratitude and nostalgia, I pay tribute to the loving memory of my dear husband, my friend, partner, and unwavering supporter. You were a man of remarkable faith, love, and vision. You believed in my dreams even when I doubted myself. You cheered me on during my PhD years, supported me tirelessly during my tenure as head of department, and stood by me throughout my campaign for a second term as dean. I will never forget how you often urged me to deliver this inaugural lecture before my sister, the Vice Chancellor, leaves office. Though you are no longer here to witness this moment, I know you are smiling from above. Sleep on, my love, until we meet to part no more. I owe immense gratitude to Professor Florence Banku, Obi, my sister, friend, and first female and 11 golden Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar. Your visionary leadership, kindness, and unwavering support have been transformative in my academic journey. From appointing me as Director of Institute of Education to granting me the privilege of serving as member of the University Governing Council and two-term Dean of Faculty, you have consistently demonstrated confidence in my abilities and provided platforms that enable me to contribute meaningfully to the growth of our great institution. Your mentorship and compassion have not only nurtured my professional development, but have also inspired countless others to believe in their potential. You are indeed a trailblazer, a model of grace, excellence, and strength whose legacy will continue to inspire women across generations. My academic journey has been profoundly shaped by exceptional teachers, mentors, and benefactors. I owe an external debt of gratitude to the late Professor Solomon Uno, whose generosity through his personal assistant, Mr. Ushita Abang, opened the first door to my teaching career at the University of Calabar, and is a single opportunity that set me on the path that has led to this historic day. I express profound appreciation to my academic father, Professor Daniel Denga, and Professor P.N. Asuko, for their scholarly guidance, kindness, and passion for the noble field of guidance and counseling. I'm equally indebted to other academics who have passed on. Professors Abangi Sangadigi, Felix Onyejaku, D.N. Mwachuku, for their wisdom, encouragement, and intellectual influence. May their gentle souls rest in perfect peace. My heartfelt appreciation goes to Professor Enopo, my teacher. I don't know whether she's here. 001. I respect you, ma'am. Francis Njamabang and others. Beyond the walls of university, I owe deep gratitude to distinguished partners whose collaboration and vision significantly advanced success of Jolly Phonics literacy into Cross River State and beyond. I owe deep gratitude to the distinguished partner and visionaries who collaborated, committed, made the Jolly Phonics literacy initiative at the University of Calabar and across Cross River State a resounding success. The story of Jolly Phonics at Unical is one of shared vision, purposeful collaboration, and unwavering dedication. What began as a spark of interest within the university community blossomed into transformative literacy movement that touched classrooms across the state and inspired similar efforts and beyond. My gratitude goes to Dr. Mrs. Oman, who brought Jolly Phonics to Unical, and Professor Ipoke, who also sponsored so many things and journey we made. These people are the ones actually that assisted in the promotion of Jolly Phonics in Cross River State. We also acknowledge the former Commissioner of Education, Professor Ofyong Efang Ofyong, then Honorable Commissioner for Education, whose visionary leadership ensured the adoption of Jolly Phonics as state flagship English literary program. His foresight in formalizing the partnership between the University of Calabar and Stepping Stones, Nigeria, laid a firm foundation for its expansion and eventual national recognition. My heartfelt appreciation also goes to Sir Joseph Ebam, Chairman of the Cross River State Universal Basic Education Board, and Professor Stephen Ode, whose steadfast support for basic education reforms and partnership initiatives strengthened the sustainability of the project here in Cross River State. Other acknowledgement in the book for my colleagues, my chairman of Dean, and my colleagues in council are all acknowledged. If you have the book, you read, you will hear more of those acknowledgements because of time. Thank you, and God bless you. You help me bring over. Thank you, ma. Thank you. Thank you.
Only.
Dear colleagues, please, if you know you are going to leave this venue before the end of the ceremony, you need not rope. If you are roped, please sit down until the end of the ceremony. Every discipline, every profession, every establishment has its own guiding principles. You don't rope in an academic program and begin to walk out before the end of the program. Please don't do that. We have other academics from other institutions, and they will think we do not know what we are doing here. If you know any time you will not stay to the end of the program, do not rope, so that you can sneak out at your convenience. If you are roped, be sure that you are going to stay to the end of the program. Please, let's coordinate ourselves. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ma, for that wonderful lecture. Answering the question, the second act, are there transformative opportunities for a rewarding life at retirement? And we got the answer. Definitely. By this lecture today, the answer is there are. Somebody say there are. And by the grace of God, we will not just be hearers, we'll be doers of the word we have heard this evening in Jesus' name. Without waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, permit me again to invite our golden Vice Chancellor for the presentation of the inaugural lecture and exchange of memento.
I present to you, our dear Vice Chancellor, a copy of my lecture.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
On behalf of the University of Calabar Senate, and indeed the entire university community, it is a privilege for me to present this memento to you today as the 147th inaugural lecturer. Today, you earn the right place as a professor with a capital P. Congratulations, my dear sister.
Congratulations again, Ma. I now call on the Chairman, Committee of Deans, Professor Ekaite Enang, our Dean of Deans, to give a vote of thanks.
Our very distinguished Vice Chancellor, Professor Florence Banku Obi, and our distinguished guests at this inaugural lecture, I greet you all. I thank the Almighty God for this unique opportunity given to all of us to sit here and to listen to a professor profess. I want to specially thank our beloved Vice Chancellor for giving us the push in the right direction as far as inaugural lecture is concerned. In the days ahead, you will come to appreciate what I'm talking about. It's no longer 2 in a week. We've even gone beyond 3 in a week. Now we are going to be having inaugural lectures. It's not even going to be a Wednesday affair.
We are going to have inaugural lectures on other days of the week. Watch out. So, Ma, we deeply appreciate you for ringing the bell and waking us up to rise up and do what we are supposed to do as academics. I want to sincerely thank all the principal officers of the University of Calabar. You can see all of them seated there. The deputy vice chancellors, the registrar, the librarian, all of them, well-robed. We are watching. Thank you so much for coming around. I appreciate our very distinguished professor, Professor Anthonia Inaja, the 147th Inaugural Lecturer, for a well-delivered inaugural lecture today. You know, when we're looking at the topic, the second act, I was wondering, which one is the second act? But today, you will not only agree with me that there is a second act, but she has taken time to tell us what constitutes a second act, the life of retirement, and you will agree with me that today's lecture holds a lot of recommendation for policy, for practice, and even for further studies. Thank you so much, ma'am. We appreciate the friend of the inaugural lecturer for helping us to get to know our inaugural lecturer better. I thank all the provosts of the colleges, deans of faculties, directors of institutes, heads of departments, professors in the house, our emeritus professor, and I also want to greet specially the Chancellor of the University of Education in the house. Thank you, sir, for honoring the invitation. I can cite our former registrar is also well seated. We recognize and we appreciate your coming. We thank all heads of departments, university senate members, all academics in. We appreciate you for turning up en masse. Faculty, College of Education. Thank you for coming out to honor your own. We appreciate the family of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you for donating her to the University of Calabar and for all the support. We want to also specially thank all the women groups in the house. I can see the Boki women, the Bensa women. Will I be able to call all of you, all the women groups, we salute you specially. Thank you for coming. We salute you especially. Thank you for coming. I will not forget my constituency, the Director, Human Resource and Establishment, and the staff of the Academic Division of the Registry. Development Division, of the Registry. Thank you for always helping us to package this event. I appreciate especially the staff of the Information Unit, the staff of the Protocol Unit, and even the staff of the Security Unit. Thank you so much for backing us up to have a very beautiful outing today. We thank Unical Radio. We recognize and we see what you are doing. Thank you so much. I want to also specially appreciate the staff and students of the Department of Guidance and Counseling. All the students in the house, gentlemen of the press, Malabites and Malabraces. Thank you so much for coming, and may God grant you journey mercies to your respective destination. Thank you, and thank you again. God bless you.
Permit me to invite once again the chairman of this occasion, our golden vice chancellor, as she's popularly known, Professor Florence Banku Obi to give her closing remark.
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Our 147th inaugural lecturer, my own dear sister, I want to appreciate you for the wonderful presentation. Dear colleagues, I'm really, really very happy looking at you, the red. It's so colorful. I joined the chair committee of deans to say kudos to all of you for turning out en masse. I hope we'll be out here the next week on the 5th of November. Am I right? 5th of November, next Wednesday. Another academic, Professor Tony Enyang, VC Academics. I'm sure many of us will be looking forward to that grammar. My dear sister, you have taught us how to prepare for retirement. And I think this is more practical than theory. Many of us who are nearing retirement should begin to think of the alternative, transformative experience that we'll have on retirement. I thought you were going to say your sister is already preparing for retirement. Because when I leave, I won't be bored. I'm sure I am prepared for retirement. And I started preparing 10 years ago for this retirement. And many of us are indeed preparing for retirement. But it is really an eye-opener how many of us do not think about the day we leave this system until we get a letter from the registry reminding us that we should go for a workshop, a pre-retirement workshop, and then it dawned on us. Some of us indeed begin to suffer from depression when the obvious begin to stare at us. Let's be more proactive. It is a wonderful experience to get to relax after 30, 35, 40 years of service, especially for us, academic staff. You are leaving the service at 70. What else are you looking for? You may not have many more years to live. So please, after 70, just think of things that will keep you busy, that will make you happy, that you have fun, all the places you have not gone to, prepare to go to them and visit such places. Not for you to come back and hang around and be. I don't think we need to be doing that. We need to prepare ahead and get ourselves immersed in so many other ways. After 70, what else are we looking for in this system? Would have been done with the system. And we go out and do something else. We have grandchildren. Let's visit our grandchildren. Let's spend more time with them. Let's enjoy them at that age. And I think I'm preparing my life, God's willing, for my retirement when I have time to spend with my grandchildren who already feel I'm not spending enough time with them. So I don't need to tell them that I'm going to work after 70 years in the university any longer. But my sister, you said something about calling on the National Assembly. It's nice for you to call on the National Assembly. But just to inform us too, that the National Assembly may not have a committee on senior citizens. But as a country, we may not know that we have a National Senior Citizen Center that was passed as an act of government since 2017. So the legislative committee works with this National Senior Citizen Committee to pass laws on the health, social living, pensions that affects senior citizens. And perhaps if we had this lecture on time before today, like last year, like 2 years ago, we would have started celebrating the day for the aged and the elderly. Because worldwide, 1st October is set aside as a day for the aged and the elderly. Perhaps we can start it come next year in the university, where the aged and the elderly will come together, play so many games. We can play novelty matches. We can go to the center, our Hall of Fame, and then we have, she said we should be dancing. Isn't that what you told us? We should be dancing. And then we have music, and we dance, those of us who are senior citizens. Unfortunately, I'm on my way out. Otherwise, I would have loved to get on with celebrating that day, 1st October, which was made since 1990 by United Nations General Assembly. I want to appreciate all of you for coming out. And I know we are not going to be tired. Come next week, we have one. After that, we have another. After that, we'll have another. After that, we'll have two. Like hinted by our chairman of Committee of Kings. In a week, we may end up having two to round up the golden era of this Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much for supporting us all through the way. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of us. Thank you.
I think our Vice Chancellor deserves an applause. Can we put our hands together for her? We have gradually come to the end of the 147th Inaugural Lecture. Just like she said, next week, 5th November, we will be having another segment of Inaugural Lecture in this hall, the 148th Inaugural Lecture. And the lecturer is a professor of literary stylistics from the Department of English and Literary Studies. Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor Anthonia Emmanuel Inaja. Please put your hands together for him. Trust him, today will be a day of grammar. So please, we expect the hall be full. Invite your friends and come and tap from the fountain of knowledge. Thank you so much. College of Education, Unade, we will derail. Next week, we are derailing to another department. Thank you so much. And the topic, his topic is Wisdom from the Lower Kingdom, the Moral Universe and Stylistic Paradigms in Anthropomorphic Literature. Can we put our heads together for him? So please, I wouldn't want us to miss this lecture. Ensure that this hall will be fuller than it is. At this point, may I now request that members of the high table please go down for a group photograph. And the inaugural lecturer has asked me to announce that after here, she has some little water in her house. So please, trail her house today, go there and celebrate with her. She said I should invite you guys to her residence. So please find out where she stays. If you don't know, go there and celebrate with her. At this point, may I please request members of the high table to please go down for a group photograph as recession would be taken off from there. Please do not leave the hall. Thank you so much. Don't leave the hall. Thank you. Members of the high table will take the lead for the recession, and all professors that are roped will please follow suit. First, only members of the high table. The second segment of the group photograph, you have the children that will join them. Please do not leave the hall. We are not done yet. We need to close this lecture formally. Please don't leave the hall. Thank you. Please clear the aisle. Recession commences. Clear the aisle. Members of the high table, please take the lead. Can we have a soft music, please? Thank you so much.